Stay with the issue of informants, because just a few moments ago we had been listening to the Chief Justice, Raymond Zondo, talking at an anti-corruption dialogue out in Boksburg. One of the points that he made was to thank both journalists, investigative journalists, and also whistleblowers. If it wasn't for them, the commission, the State Capture Commission, would not have been able to do the job to the level that it did. Now, when it comes to reporting misconduct, though, in South Africa, it's a very difficult one for those who are thinking about possibly being whistleblowers. There's repercussions for them in their personal and professional lives. Let's be blunt, it often destroys them. The way society views and celebrates them is something we need to alter to support the destigmatization of them. So in honor of the brave whistleblowers who gave their upholding moral principles to the country, Public Interest SA is hosting a unique, very exclusive breakfast event to commemorate the incredible sacrifice made by those heroes. Well, let's unpack that a little bit further. I'm joined by the Chairperson of Public Interest SA, Tebogo Khaas, making time for me this afternoon. Tebogo, good to have you on eNCA. I'm quite sure you were listening as keenly as I was to two people. One was the President at that anti-corruption dialogue, and most notably the Chief Justice. Just very quickly, before we get the details of your breakfast meeting, tell me what you made of what the Chief Justice had to say.
I think the Chief Justice hit all the right notes insofar as locating the issues that afflict us as a society, trying to unravel the state capture that has gripped us for the past decade or long. And he also located the fact that much as there are institutions that are tasked with criminal justice system, for example, it is left to us as society, it is left to us as citizens to ensure that we re-gear ourselves, or rather to re-tether ourselves to our ethical moorings, to make sure that we don't rely so much on what the criminal justice system can do when most of the things actually begin at home. So it's all about the moral regime, moral regeneration, where we need to look at it, because most of these things just don't happen out there in the streets. They start at home with small behaviors, which gets entrenched, and then antisocial behavior gets out into society. And we know that we've lost our way as a society, because we cannot even counsel children that don't belong to you biologically, because you'll be told that who are you. And also, even as adults, the way we conduct ourselves in the face of the young ones or the youth, it also has got a bearing in terms of how they would also grow up into being human beings, or know what society can expect or shouldn't be expecting. So corruption itself is also something that is no regulation can actually curtail it, but it takes individuals themselves, our own conscience, to ensure that we actually can work against it.
Yeah, let's talk about those individuals for a moment, Tebogo, because the Chief Justice as well making a very interesting point. He was saying that during the State Capture Commission, the Commission coming under a lot of criticism. One of those, I just want to make sure I understand and have this correct, that the whistleblowers should get some percentage of the money that was recovered if the information as whistleblowers was found to be credible and helpful. The Chief Justice saying that the Commission came under a lot of criticism for that. What he was arguing, I'd like your thoughts on this, is you have those who are moralistic, will come forward to report corruption because it's the right thing to do. Others will do it because there's money involved. Can you have it both ways? Can you go for money and morals?
Absolutely. And when you go for money, it doesn't mean that you don't have moral scruples. You know, it's only money in the sense that it actually helps to put you at the same position you would have been financially had you not blown the whistle. It is not people who blow the whistle because they want to be rich. It is because the mere act of blowing the whistle actually imperils your ability to eke out a livelihood, and therefore your family may suffer for your whistleblowing. So, in other words, those individuals who blow the whistle in circumstances where there may be financial losses which are required, pursuant their whistleblowing, they should be rewarded somehow. There should be compensation of sorts to ensure that they don't lose. You know that most whistleblowers lose their jobs. Some of them get ostracized in society. Even big corporate South Africa itself shun them for re-employment, and you find them destitute and not being able to eke out a living. And therefore, it might very well be that we consider, take the example of former Speaker of Bombela, Jimmy Mohlala, who was assassinated for blowing the whistle, and as he was about to testify in court against those who were implicated in the 2010 FIFA corruption scandal. And now, with his demise, his family was less destitute. At least one of his kids had to leave school to ensure, because of the financial circumstances that they as a family found themselves in. I would want to believe the situation hasn't even improved or changed so far as that family is concerned up to today. And it would very well be that if there was some way of compensating for the kind of information that the likes of Jimmy Muhlala had provided the authorities, obviously it will be contingent about a successful prosecution and recovery of funds. But then the families can then be able to say, much as we have lost permanently a member of our family, but at least our children can still go to school, can still afford the varsity or tertiary education, and as a family, they can still be able to maintain a certain modicum of decency, just as the breadwinner would have been when they were around. If we not for that,
you mentioned Jimmy Muhlala, of course, the other very well-known name, and there are others, of course there are, but the other one that comes to mind, of course, is Babita Deokaran as well. I want to know more about this exclusive breakfast that you're having, because I understand as well that there's going to be whistleblowers awards plaques, and this is important because it's the recognition of whistleblowers to try and de-stigmatise this. Whistleblowers don't live in the dark on the fringes of society. They need to be brought out into the light, don't they?
Yes, we want to mainstream whistleblowing, in other words. In other words, we want to say to people, it's okay to speak up. It's okay to raise a flag and say something wrong is happening here, or to actually shine a light on malfeasance or acts of corruption whenever and wherever they occur. And it is because of this that we want to make sure that we host the families. We obviously cannot bring back their loved ones whom they've lost, but we want to say to them their act of whistleblowing, which led to their being assassinated or losing their lives, it was not in vain. We as society recognize their action, and we encourage others to follow in their footsteps, to emulate them, to come up. Of course, it is a risky thing to ask of anybody, and as we know, paying an ultimate price with your life is not something that anybody would want to choose. But the more we speak out, the less people will have the gumption or the guts to actually take out a society that actually speaks out against wrongdoing. Because you and I would know somebody who's still a telecom cable, or who's still a Transnet rail line, or who connects to the ESCOM grid illegally. But we keep quiet because they say, well, it's none of my business. We want to say society must take it up on their own and say, so far and no more, we will speak up. And it is the actual fear that makes corruption and crime fester and grow. And we want to celebrate these heroes of integrity for what they've done in shining the light. It might very well be that some of the cases have stalled, but we want to put life to those cases that have also stalled, to make sure that the authorities who are tasked with providing justice for these families actually act sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the evil of the world will continue to grow if good people do nothing and simply stand by. That is the takeaway for me. Chairperson of Public Interest SA, Tebogo, thank you very much, Tebogo Khaas, making time this afternoon, honouring the sacrifice of heroes, having given up a lot more than just their time. Many of them have lost their lives as whistleblowers. My thanks to Tebogo, and also my thanks to the team behind the scenes here on